Good morning and welcome. Thank you for joining me here today. If you find yourself here, there may be a message for your healing journey, soul's evolution, transformation, or simply information. Today I'd like to talk a little bit about the narcissist who try and break you down. Well, maybe they are pathological liars, the narcopaths, right? They typically and clinically have low self-esteem, as their authentic self is more of a toxic monster, and if you've lived with one, you know. And maybe they have addictions, and then with their dark arts and dark magic use of occult, they have a lot of multiple personalities or crazy behavior that maybe scares the whole household. Even the wood, right? Definitely the animals and the children in the home. So it is very unnerving, right? When they become enraged. It's sort of a parasite relationship where they steal your energy, which is toxic. And of course, you, their partner, or whatever they call you, if you live with them, obviously maybe you're one of the main sources, and then they have lots of sparkly other things. It doesn't matter, sometimes gender, right? So if you've learned these things, it's okay. Just remove yourself and just know that what you didn't know, you didn't know. But what you witnessed, their Jekyll and Hyde and their false selves, you know, it's like they want the admiration. Their ego is intact within themselves, but they're emotional vampires for a reason. They have a mission to suck you dry and your confidence, and they prey upon you in every which way, shape, or form. And of course your identity, and pun intended. Once you leave, you'll realize, maybe, they've stolen your identity and done some really crazy things, and you will know. Because people where you've gone for years are medical providers, or maybe you've filed your taxes or renewed your driver's license or tried to get your passport renewed, or maybe you've moved recently and you have a new lease or tried to obtain a mortgage. Well, it is very interesting what you do find out along the way. These crazy people that are lower level energies, well, they're toxic on all fronts, and especially if you have weird things happening to you, you definitely can timeline back to figure out maybe what they've said, or maybe they were intoxicated and the things they've done to other people, or even their past many people, you know, lots of many other people. Yes, toxic. They leave you with very much wondering and dismay with all the chaos. And literally, maybe you've been driving around and all of a sudden the car doesn't work, or the tailgate flies open and you have kids and animals in the back, right? Probably not a mistake, probably not at all. Maybe they were trying to create some really weird chaos. So none of these things are okay, and they're abnormal. So they want you to feel so terrible about yourself. Maybe they've dabbled a lot in the dark arts, and maybe they suggest that you should just take yourself out. Maybe you're smart enough to say, well, why don't you go ahead and do that if you're so miserable in this world? A little reverse psychology. But maybe you don't do that either, because no matter what happens, they fly into a rage. And depending upon what personality comes out, they have different friends and different things they do. They dress differently, and they drink many different things, and they do many different things. So these are very serious that you need to take a look at. And no, nobody suggests that you are less than desirable in this world. Nobody should suggest that you should take yourself out in this world. Nobody should make you feel any which way, whatever they've done to you, manipulation, conjuring up whatever they do, and belittling you every chance they get. And then when you go out, they do different things, if they take you out, right? Not literally, but that's what they try and do too. They're very greedy people, and maybe they have lots of partners they engage themselves with. You know, there's lots of things they do, crazy, unbeknownst to you, or maybe you do know somehow intuitively. Lots of different things happen. Maybe they're married, maybe they're not married, maybe they go to different places, different countries, and get married. Maybe there's lots of things going on, illegally or legally. Who knows, right? But you do find out. You will get a ping one way or another. Greed, yes. Multiple personalities have crazy things they do, roadside service with pay for pleasure. Maybe they like certain places and they take you there. And now that you're away, you unpack things and you're like, wow, why were these people side-eyeing me? And you were just admiring their hair, their attire and whatnot, and you remember something your past person said, so you know it was hookup time. You just had to get busy getting a facial, right? It's all funny now, but nobody got hurt as far as I know, except for myself. Well, I guess that's to be seen and heard and announced, right? Well, they have this need for sympathy because you are so evil. That's what they tell everybody. They want to be generous with everybody, and maybe not even you, unless they were love bombing you, right? And then they fear losing you or their stability, so they always circle back to one main thing. But their abuse will spill over into all aspects of their life. Eventually, they will show face, no matter how they try and make themselves look perfect. This maltreatment is awful, and it may take months for you to identify, maybe decades of your narcissistic abuse, and it's not okay. It is not okay. It is not okay for anybody to be abused. Not you, not anybody you know, your family, your children, or anybody you're caring for, even their neighbors or whomever that are afraid of them. How do you know that? Because they've told you they stay away from them. Or the mailman. Lots of people have interesting conversations with you that you didn't know all along the way. And maybe you don't know these people very well, but you should probably listen up. And maybe along the line, maybe there was a decent cop that called and asked if you needed any assistance, and you said no. Maybe you should have said yes to remove yourself and get an order of protection right then and there. Or maybe you tell them, come and get me in 48 hours because I need to get an order in place so you're safe, right? Make sure you're safe. Make sure you're safe. If you do need an order of protection, get it for the longest duration. They do make them for 50 years. That should take care of the problem, you think, right? So these narcissistic people, if they're evil and have a lot of personality problems or addictions, you know, they do have the ability to destroy you in every which way, shape, or fashion. You already know they've tried to control you and or the children and everybody else they know with their food salad, their manipulation games, and their tactics. So just make sure you don't just stand down to them. You do something to stand up for yourself, because your life may be at stake. Don't make excuses for them and try not to be codependent. Cleaning up their act, let them make sure karma plays out, because they are the one dishing out all this evil. And even if they have suspicious affairs, which they always do, they're secretive about everything, and they have many phones and many vehicles, and they change it up just to make sure nobody's on their trail. It's very intense, and I know that. Trauma can be intense, but remember, you are the victim of this predatory abuse, and it is. It's dismantling of you and your life. And of course, they have everything that you own if you live with them in their possession. So when you leave, they're going to keep it. And sometimes, does it matter? Take with you that what matters. Or if you really are unsure, listen to that intuition and get a storage and only put things in place until you know it's going to work out. And I mean that literally. So just make sure surviving narcissistic abuse means you break and or destroy any all contracts with them forever. You no longer are a part of their life because it matters. And get that order of protection in place for 50 years. That does matter, because they don't stop. They use phone apps, they track you, they do everything to destroy your life behind the scenes. So when you get that order in place, start a credit reporting system immediately and keep that in place so you are aware. And they may pull shit and get it in other countries. Still, you can obtain this information, and I encourage you to do so, because they will do anything to screw you over in life and kick you when it hurts, right? And your children, your animals, and everything else in between. They manipulate everything. And just remember, you need to take precautions because you didn't know. So your driver's license, social security number, taxes, everything will come up, and you will know. Trust me, you will know. It will be all of a sudden one day, shit hits the fan and things are tanked out. Literally, they hack every part of your life. So that also can cause trauma. But you know what? You will get through this. God has a very special plan for these people. Pray up, keep safe, make sure your orders are in place, make sure your work is aware if you are working, make sure you're very detailed with your children to have a plan if something happens. Everybody can call 911 and have safety things in your car, around your neck, or in your purse to make sure there's a whistle being blown if you are compromised. That's also equally important. And set boundaries. It's important to set boundaries and never, ever, ever live in the same community as they do, because they collaborate with everybody. Yes, they do. So I hope this helps today. Just remember, your self-esteem, your indecisions, and your patience and your fear are what kept you here, right? And now you need to become fearless and have self-care, releasing that shame, trauma, fear, grief, sorrow. And yes, you may lose a lot of different things, but guess what? You're going to gain so much more from the journey, right? You're going to gain some strength. So find the healing that you need and be sacred with yourself and safe, because self-care is imperative. It is sacred, not selfish. Just take care of you. And so it is. Namaste.